Imagine you open your laptop on Monday morning and your AI has already reviewed every pull request in your codebase, triaged all your bugs, turned your Figma designs into production-ready code, and drafted replies to your entire inbox in your own voice. You have not written a single line of code. You have not sent a single email. You just reviewed what it did and approved. That is not science fiction. That is the set of real-world workflows that OpenAI devs published this week as documented use cases for Codex, their AI coding agent. The framing they chose was deliberate, not an AI assistant. An AI teammate. The question is whether developers should be excited, anxious, or both. Here is what we are covering today. First, we walk through exactly what Codex can now do, the complete list of real workflows OpenAI published this week, and what the 40% speed improvement in Amp's deep and rush modes actually means for developers. Then we look at what Sam Altman is building toward with the ChatGPT super app and the new web app publishing capability. We examine the memory upgrade and why persistent AI context changes the competitive landscape. We cover the economic and labor implications, including Coinbase CEO's prediction of 99% cheaper AI models within 18 months. And we close with Naval Ravikant's one-sentence framing of where all of this is going. The week began on June 3 when OpenAI posted a cryptic but charged campaign message, "It's time to fly." 2 days later, the substance behind that campaign became clear. On June 7, OpenAI devs published dozens of documented real-world Codex workflows, an unusually concrete public disclosure from a company that often leads with abstract capability claims. The list covers the full software development lifecycle. According to posts from OpenAI devs, Codex is being used to manage email inboxes and draft replies in the user's own voice, review GitHub pull requests before any human reviewer sees them, convert Figma designs directly into production-ready code, understand large code bases in minutes, automate bug triage and QA workflows, query spreadsheets and datasets using natural language, deploy apps and websites directly from text prompts, build Mac and iOS applications faster, create presentation decks automatically, convert Slack threads into development tasks, and operate a user's computer directly through AI-powered actions. The framing OpenAI devs used explicitly is that Codex is becoming an AI teammate instead of just an AI assistant. Simultaneously, OpenAI devs reported that Amp's deep and rush modes running on GPT-5.5 now complete tasks up to 40% faster than before, achieved through a rebuilt architecture that reduced round trips between the user and GPU and runs agent loops in durable execution. On June 4, Sama published a video of ChatGPT's new web app creation and publishing capability, explicitly comparing it to HyperCard, Apple's legendary democratization of software creation from the 1980s. And OpenAI rolled out a major ChatGPT memory upgrade, with a ChatGPT app confirming that the new system tracks preferences, constraints, and context across conversations, with memory summaries giving users visibility and control. The new memory system rolled out first to Plus and Pro users in the US, with expanded plans to follow. Separately, OpenAI acknowledged that an issue caused some user accounts to be incorrectly suspended and confirmed access was being restored. The first question many developers and observers are asking is, what is the difference between an AI assistant and an AI teammate, and why does that distinction matter? The short answer is scope and autonomy. An assistant responds to explicit requests. A teammate operates within a workflow, understands goals, makes decisions without being prompted for each step, and produces outputs that go directly into production pipelines. The Codex workflow list is notable precisely because it describes outputs, deployed apps, sent emails, merged pull requests, not just drafts or suggestions. The implication is that the human role in each of those workflows has shifted from execution to review and approval. A second pressing question is what this means economically for software engineers specifically, and for the broader labor market. On that front, the signals in this week's dataset are striking. According to Cointelegraph's reporting of Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong's statement, he predicts that 80% of AI workloads will run on models that are 99% cheaper within 12 to 18 months, with energy and compute as the primary limiting factors. That prediction, if accurate, dramatically accelerates the economics of AI agent deployment. If inference becomes near free, the marginal cost of replacing a routine development task with an agent approaches zero. The counterpoint, which is also embedded in this week's data, comes from Gary Tan at YC, who noted that educating people on how to use AI tools has become a serious bottleneck. That observation is important. The constraint on AI adoption is currently more about human capability and workflow integration than model capability. And at Naval's one-sentence observation published June 5, software platforms are going to be rebuilt for agent-first points to the medium-term structural shift, not just AI tools layered on existing platforms, but platforms rebuilt from the ground up to assume AI agents as primary users. That is a different and larger transition than any single product launch captures. What is the real difference between an AI assistant and an AI teammate, and why does that framing change the conversation about software engineering jobs? An AI assistant responds to prompts. An AI teammate operates within a workflow, makes decisions without step-by-step direction, and produces outputs that enter production pipelines directly. If the documented Codex workflows reflect real deployment patterns, the human role has shifted from execution to review, which is a meaningful change in the value proposition of a software engineering role, even if it does not immediately eliminate headcount. What does Coinbase CEO's prediction of 99% cheaper AI models in 18 months actually mean for the pace of Codex adoption? If inference costs approach zero while capability continues to improve, the economic case for deploying AI agents in place of human execution on routine tasks becomes overwhelming for most organizations. The current constraint, as Gary Tan noted, is education and workflow integration, not model cost. If both constraints ease simultaneously, the adoption curve could be steeper than most workforce transition models currently assume. In the United States, the Codex expansion is arriving in a labor market that is already navigating tension between AI productivity gains and software engineering employment. The U.S. tech sector shed significant headcount in 2023 and 2024, and the case being made internally at many companies is that AI agents can absorb the work that would have required new hires. The documented Codex workflows this week, especially GitHub PR review, bug triage, and direct app deployment from prompts, are not experimental capabilities. They are the daily outputs of junior to mid-level software engineers. Whether AI agents complement those roles or replace them is the central workforce question of the next 2 years in US tech. For India, the stakes are particularly acute. India's technology sector is one of the world's largest employers of software engineers, with a significant portion of the global services workforce concentrated in outsourcing and services delivery. The Codex use cases published this week, understanding large codebases, automating QA workflows, reviewing pull requests, overlap directly with the high-volume, process-intensive work that has underpinned India's IT services growth for 2 decades. Some economists suggest the near-term impact will be productivity amplification rather than displacement, but the trajectory is clear. In Europe, the AI Act's provisions around high-risk AI systems and workplace automation may apply to some of the more autonomous Codex workflows, particularly those involving direct computer control and autonomous code deployment. European developers and companies are watching closely whether US-developed AI agent capabilities outpace the regulatory frameworks designed to govern them. For the global developer community, the most immediate question is competitive, as OpenAI positions Codex as an AI teammate and Claude's Claude Code and Claude Dev's UltraCode workflow compete for the same developer mindshare. The battle for which AI agent becomes the default infrastructure of software development may already be in its decisive phase. According to posts from Naval, platforms rebuilt for agent first will define the next era. The question is which ecosystem those agents run in. The strongest counterargument to the AI teammate replacing engineers narrative is this: every previous wave of developer tooling IDEs, version control, cloud infrastructure, no-code platforms was predicted to dramatically reduce the demand for software engineers, and every time, the opposite happened. Productivity gains from better tools historically increase the total amount of software being built, which increases demand for the people who can direct, review, and maintain that software. Under this reading, Codex and similar agents do not reduce engineering headcount, they expand what a single engineer can do, increasing the economic value of engineering talent and potentially growing the total market for software development. There is also the reliability question. WSJ noted this week that AI excels at many tasks, but for work requiring judgment, it can give wrong answers with great confidence. A Codex workflow that autonomously reviews pull requests or deploys apps to production introduces a new class of risk: the confident wrong answer that ships before a human catches it. OpenAI itself acknowledged this week that an issue caused some user accounts to be incorrectly suspended, a reminder that even the infrastructure running these AI systems is not immune to errors that affect real users at scale. Some engineering teams are concluding that the AI teammate model requires more senior engineering oversight, not less, to catch the confident mistakes that automated agents produce. Here is the detail that keeps appearing in the dataset this week and almost everyone is missing it. Sama compared ChatGPT web app creation to HyperCard, Apple's 1987 tool that let non-programmers build interactive software. HyperCard was discontinued in 2004. But in its 15-year run, it did not replace programmers. It created a generation of people who thought they could build things, and many of them eventually became the programmers who built the internet. If Altman's HyperCard analogy holds, the real story is not job replacement. It is who becomes a developer next. Drop your answer in the comments. Do you think Codex and AI coding agents will ultimately grow or shrink the demand for human software engineers over the next 5 years? This is the question shaping every engineering team's hiring plan right now. Tell us your take below, and subscribe so you do not miss our next deep dive.